An old woman came to the king of Rome and offered him 9 books. They contained the oracles of the future, everything Rome would ever need to know about what was coming and what the gods required. The king asked the price. She named a sum so enormous he laughed and sent her away. She returned with 6 books and asked the same price. He refused again. She burned 3 more and returned with only 3, still asking the same price. The king's advisors, suddenly afraid, told him to pay it. He did. The woman vanished. The 3 books were placed in a vault beneath the Temple of Jupiter on the Capitoline Hill, guarded by a priestly college, consulted only at moments of Rome's gravest crisis. They were treated as the most sacred documents in the Republic. The woman who had sold them was the Cumaean Sibyl, and the Romans never learned her name. The Sibyls were not one woman. They were a tradition, prophetic women scattered across the ancient world, each attached to a sacred place, each speaking with an authority that transcended the political structures of their time. The word itself may derive from the Aeolic Greek for will of Zeus. These were women through whom divine will entered the world. The earliest Sibylline tradition appears in the 6th century BCE in the Greek colonies of Asia Minor. The Erythraean Sibyl was among the oldest, a woman at Erythrae on the coast of what is now Turkey, whose prophecies were written down and carried across the Mediterranean world. The philosopher Heraclitus, writing around 500 BCE, knew of the Sibyl. He wrote that she spoke with raving mouth and that her voice reached across 1,000 years. He meant it as a description of power, not madness. A voice that carries 1,000 years is a voice that has never been contained. The place most associated with Sibylline prophecy in the Roman world was Cumae on the Bay of Naples, the oldest Greek colony on the Italian mainland. The cave of the Cumaean Sibyl survives. It is a trapezoidal tunnel carved into the volcanic rock, over 150 meters long, with chambers cut into the sides and light falling in diagonal shafts from apertures above. The rock absorbs sound. The geometry focuses the eye toward the inner chamber. The light is never ordinary. The archaeologist Amedio Maiori, who excavated the site in the 1930s, described it as a space designed not for the comfort of the visitor, but for the authority of the one who waited at the end. The Cumaean Sibyl appears most fully in Virgil's Aeneid, written in the 1st century BCE, the guide who takes Aeneas down into the underworld. Priestess of Apollo and Hecate both, a woman of terrifying authority, who does not comfort her visitor, but tests him. Virgil describes how Apollo rides her, how she fights him, how her face changes and her voice deepens, and the words that come out of her are not hers alone. This is not presented as humiliation. It is the condition of genuine prophecy. The self must be large enough to hold a god. The Sibylline Books were not poetic visions. They were operational documents, instructions for what ceremonies Rome must perform when the gods were offended, consulted only when the Senate authorized it, and only at moments of genuine crisis. Plague, military disaster, a rain of stones, the birth of a hermaphrodite child. They told Rome not what would happen, but what Rome must do. They gave the feminine prophetic voice a direct channel into Roman statecraft that no other tradition in the ancient world replicated. The books were destroyed in 83 BCE when the Temple of Jupiter burned. The Senate's response reveals how seriously they were taken. Commissioners were sent to Erythrae, Samos, Sicily, and Africa to collect every Sibylline oracle that could be found. They gathered over 1,000 verses. The new collection was installed in the rebuilt temple, later moved by Augustus to the Temple of Apollo on the Palatine Hill. And Augustus had several hundred texts he judged inauthentic burned. The first emperor editing the prophetic archive, controlling what the Sibyl was permitted to have said. In 405 CE, the general Stilicho ordered what remained of the Sibylline books to be burned. By then, the empire had been officially Christian for a generation. The books had not been consulted for decades. But someone still thought them dangerous enough to destroy entirely. A tradition of feminine prophetic authority that had shaped Roman decision-making for nearly 1,000 years ended not through neglect, but through a deliberate act by a named man who wanted them gone. And yet, the Sibyls did not disappear, because early Christianity found them useful. The Erythraean Sibyl had prophesied, they claimed, the coming of a savior. An acrostic in her verses spelled out in Greek the words, Jesus Christ, Son of God, Savior. The church father Lactantius quoted her extensively. Constantine cited her in his oration to the saints. They were not condemned. They were recruited, transformed from independent prophetic women speaking with their own authority into forerunners whose value lay entirely in having anticipated the tradition that now owned them. Augustine accepted the Erythraean Sibyl as a genuine voice of divine truth, as long as that truth pointed only in one direction. 5 Sibyls appear on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, painted by Michelangelo between 1508 and 1512. Vast, muscular figures, seated between the Hebrew prophets, give an equal visual weight. A ceiling commissioned by Pope Julius II at the heart of Roman Catholic power, in which 5 pagan prophetesses are treated as equals to Isaiah and Ezekiel. Michelangelo did not paint them as gentle mystics. The Cumaean Sibyl is enormously old, and she does not look gentle. She looks like someone who has seen everything and is not afraid to say so. What the Sibyls represented was prophetic feminine authority operating outside institutional control. They belonged to no temple hierarchy, no priestly college, no official cult. Their books could be bought, collected, edited, and burned. But the tradition of the Sibyl herself answered a need institutions could not replace: the need for a voice that stood outside power and spoke anyway. She did not offer comfort. The tradition is consistent on this, from Heraclitus's raving mouth to Virgil's terrifying priestess, but she offered something people needed more than comfort: the possibility that the unknown could be met, that what was coming could be faced, that a voice could reach across the darkness and return with something true. Not reassurance, orientation. And for nearly 1,000 years, it was a woman's voice that gave it to them.